But it's hard not to read into this decision by the U.S., Vlad, to finally approve these long-range weapons for Ukraine as a message being sent not just to U.S. allies, but also to the incoming Trump administration about the importance of continuing to support Ukraine in this fight going forward.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I hope you guys are ready for World War III, okay? Because it seems as if the Biden administration is hell-bent on getting us to the cusp of a war, a full-blown world war, before Trump gets into office, okay? Because the Biden administration is doing everything that they can to undermine Trump on the world stage and also domestically as well, too, at the border. And we're going to talk about those things today, okay? The first thing I want to talk about is when it comes to foreign policy, because the war in Ukraine is escalating as North Korea apparently is involved, right? They've joined Russia and they said, hey, we're going to help you out here, okay? We're going to supply some weapons and also some troops as well, too. And they have entered the war, okay, allegedly. And in response to this, Biden thought it would be a good idea to escalate the conflict even further by allowing Zelensky and Ukraine to use long-range weapons that are capable of striking targets deep within Russia. Now, again, this is clear escalation. And what you're seeing here is what seems to be the beginning of a global conflict that, again, is truly global, right? I mean, we all know what happened in World War I, World War II. All it takes is just for a few countries to come together and for things to really, really, really escalate, for you to have a full-blown war where you have, you know, basically the world taking sides and saying, hey, let's come together and destroy each other, right? I mean, that's essentially what we seem to be on the cusp of here, because Biden wants to make it as hard as possible for Trump to actually create peace in this conflict, right? This is what they want, right? That's the whole point. The whole point is to make it more difficult for the incoming president to do what he promised he was going to do, right? And you have individuals like, for example, Joe Rogan speaking out against Joe Biden and this escalation on his podcast in response to the news of Biden allowing Ukraine to use long-range weaponry. Take a look.
Knowing that Trump is in office.
I do too.
I feel great about it. I just
what I don't feel safer is right now they're launching missiles into Russia.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III. Maybe that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president. Mm-hmm. It's the whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. Fuck you, man. Fuck you people. You fucking people are about to start World War III.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Russia fired a missile today.
I feel like they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time ever. It's the first time one of those has ever been used.
That's insanity.
It's fucking insanity, because those intercontinental ballistic missiles can have nukes on them. This one didn't, but if it does, the whole world changes, and it changes because of the military-industrial complex, and it changes because of the money that's going to Ukraine, and it changes because the outgoing president or whoever the fuck is actually running the country has decided to do something fucking insane.
Yeah,
fucking insane. And we're all sitting there watching it, and people are cheering it on. CNN was saying, like, finally, see what their headline was about Zelensky about Biden giving Zelensky the ability to use long-range missiles. U.S. made long-range. It's not like nobody knows where they came from. It's not like nobody knows we've been funding this. It's a proxy war. The whole thing is fucking insane. It's insane. Come to the negotiation table. Sit down. Work this out. Stop killing everybody. U.S. allows Ukraine to use long-range missiles. So what did they say? Someone had said that, like, CNN was saying that it was a good thing, which I think is how has the left gone so far crazy that they think it's a good thing to launch missiles? Well, we voted Trump in, and his idea is to stop all this shit, and hopefully he can do that.
Yeah.
But, man, fuck. We got 60 more days until Trump gets in, or whatever it is. How many days is it, Jamie? But who knows? Maybe once he gets in, they'll ramp it up. Who knows? Maybe they'll sabotage his administration. That's what's even more scary. People don't want him in power. And the people that are in power don't want to leave power, and they'll try every way they can to keep it. 60 days from today. All right.
On the news.
60 days.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. Just hope Putin understands what's going on as well, and Zelensky doesn't do anything stupid. But saying that Putin's terrified, God damn it.
It's like you're trying to like tug the tail of a fucking sleeping
Dragon.
Dragons.
Yeah. Also, Zelensky, can I get a drug test?
Yeah, so I think that's how everybody's feeling right now, right? 60 days until Trump gets in. Let's hold on for dear life. Hold on, okay? 60 days. We just got to wait it out 60 days and hope that this administration that is being led by a mentally declining empty suit does not destroy the world in the process, right? I think everybody has their fingers crossed, praying to God, praying that we can make it to the finish line, right? That let's just get Trump in office, right? Once we get Trump in office, hopefully a lot of this stuff de-escalates, okay? I'm still trying to figure out the argument from the pro-Ukraine liberals and conservatives, because there are conservatives out there that are pro-Ukraine, okay, that are pro, this war or whatever. I'm still trying to figure out, what is y'all end goal, man? What is y'all end goal, right? What is y'all end goal when it comes to fighting this nuclear-armed country who clearly is willing to bring in other countries as well, too, to help fight on their behalf, right? Clear escalation. And you guys do understand the final point of escalation, right? The final point of escalation is a nuclear conflict. Is that what you want, right? You want a nuclear conflict? That's what y'all want to do? Why? Because it's cheap. It's a cheap way to kill Russian soldiers, right? To punish Putin's military, right? Because that's really the only argument I've heard from these individuals. Well, this is an easier way and a cheaper way to weaken the Russian military without the U.S. having to directly fight, right? Let's just use the Ukrainians. That's their only argument. That's their only argument. But they can't tell you, what is the end goal? When does it stop? When does it become too much? When do we say, hey, you know what? This ain't really worth fighting. Let's try to get some peace. Let's save some Ukrainian lives. Let's save some money. Let's save some of our weapons that we're giving away to Ukraine that for whatever reason liberals believe justifies being involved. Well, we're not spending that much money. We're just giving away billions of dollars in weapons that, hey, eventually we have to replace. We still got to spend money to replace the weapons. Okay, those weapons ain't free. Anyways, I'm not anti-war, right? I don't want people to get it twisted. I am anti-unnecessary war, right? I'm anti-war that really doesn't involve the U.S., right? Where there's not really any threat to us, okay? In the worst case scenario, there's no real threat to us. And I'm not buying into this argument that Russia is a threat to invade NATO, right? I think that Putin understands mutually assured destruction, right? I think he understands that concept, right? What happens if he actually attacks a NATO country, right? I think he understands that. So, it's just one of those things where the longer this goes on, the more it escalates, and it's going to get to the point where it's out of control. And, hey, if we end up fighting this war, especially before Trump gets in office, all these liberals and conservatives that, hey, was running around with these Ukraine flags like Adam Kinzinger, they can go fight, right? They can go fight, okay? I'm just saying. So this is not the only front in which Biden is trying to undermine Trump. Right, he's also trying to undermine Trump on immigration because apparently he is loosening up these standards for illegal immigration restrictions right before Trump gets in office. So this is what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to sabotage Trump on the world stage to make it harder for him to get peace in Ukraine. And he's also trying to make it harder for Trump to secure the border, right? To deal with the illegal immigration problem. Let's read here. The Biden administration is loosening some key immigration restrictions ahead of President-elect Trump's second term, opening the door for thousands more illegal immigrants to enter the country. Trump has indicated that he could declare a national emergency and use military assets to carry out mass deportations. The Biden administration, however, is taking steps to make Trump's plans for the border more difficult. The Biden Department of Homeland Security is launching an ICE portal app in December that will allow migrants to skip their in-person check-ins at an ICE office and instead check in with immigration officials via an app on a phone or computer, according to reporting by the New York Post. Yeah, so again, they're basically making it easier for the illegals to stay here illegally, right? Because this ain't gonna work, right? Why would you check in on the app at all? Why? And even if you do check in on the app, what does that mean? You just oh, well, I'm in my comfort of my home that's, being paid for by the government, right? By the taxpayers. I'm gonna check in. These people should be deported, okay? I'm so serious. The app reportedly has severe glitching issues and does not track a migrant's location if he or she is using an Android phone or laptop. Further, the app does not check migrants for past arrests or outstanding warrants and allows them to opt out of or contest government orders to undergo electronic tracking. AKA, again, there's no way for this app to actually keep up with these individuals. And it's done on purpose. It's done 100% on purpose, okay, to facilitate this problem, okay? The Post reported that up to 100,000 migrants will be enrolled in the new program's first wave. This comes after the Biden administration set the record for the highest number of illegal migrants entering the country in a single year in 2023 with 3.2 million entries. And I believe that's a lowball number, right? That's a lowball. It's probably at least 6, 7, 8 million. This surpassed the previous record of 2.7 million set the year before. Okay, so this comes as there are giant caravans of migrants now headed to the border to get into the country before Trump takes office. I told you guys that this would happen, okay, because what Biden had been doing is that he had been making Mexico hold the illegals, right? He said, hey, Mexico, hold them until after the election. And then after the election, it's a free fall, right? They can come into the country because this is what they want anyways, right? This is what they wanted to do the whole time. This is why Kamala campaigning on closing the border and being tough on the border was nonsense. And nobody believed her because we all know that they never wanted to close the border. All this stuff was done on purpose, right? As soon as the election was over, they was going to open it back up. And lo and behold, this is what you have. A
new caravan of at least 1,500 migrants are rushing to the southern border, trying to make it before President-elect Trump takes office as Texas steps up to help Trump's border agenda.
While we're working on deporting the people, we also have to be equally successful at denying illegal entry. That includes putting up the barriers and doing everything possible to prevent anybody from crossing between a port of entry. We are expanding those buoys in the river. They are completely effective at denying illegal entry, and a byproduct that costs less than building a border wall, which Texas is doing also.
This comes as the Biden administration quietly loosens immigration policies. Former acting ICE Director Ron Vitiello joins us now. Ron, thanks for joining us this morning. So explain to us this quiet loosening. What exactly has the Biden administration done under the cover of night, actually, to loosen the rules? What are these rules?
Well, thanks for inviting me, Rachel. This is another example where the Biden-Harris administration are going to bring down the rules for in-person check-ins for the 8 million people who are on the non-detained docket at ICE. And so under normal conditions, people would go monthly or every other month or quarterly, depending on what their immigration officer has determined is a successful way for them to report in, to make sure they're on track for their supposed due process in immigration court, whether or not they're going to be able to stay in the United States or not. And so what we know from experience, what I know from experience, both in the Border Patrol and at ICE, is that people who are not detained before they see an immigration judge are not likely to be removed. So when you pull down the in-person reporting to something that's virtual, you're telling the world, just like this administration has told the world about the border, they don't really care about enforcing immigration law. They're not too concerned about the people who are on the non-detained docket, even though there are 1.5 million of that 8 million who have criminal records in the United States or in a foreign country.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Biden is trying to sabotage Trump. He's trying to undermine Trump, trying to make it harder for Trump to be successful on day one, right? And this is how petty our politicians are. Right? Like imagine being so petty that you're like, you know what? Before I leave office, I'm just going to wreck stuff, right? I'm going to try to start World War III, and I'm also going to open the border, break the border immigration system so badly that it's going to be impossible for Trump to fix. That way he can't come in and actually achieve the things that he campaigned on, that the American people voted for. This is like treason, right? This is like treason against the American people, right? Just imagine. This guy said, the American people voted for this. All right, I'm going to make sure they don't get it. I'm going to make sure they don't get what they voted for. Wild stuff, but not surprised. This is how petty Democrats are. This is how sneaky they are, right? And this is why I'm glad that the American people voted them out of office. So, hey, Trump has his work cut out for him. It's not going to be easy. I think regardless of Biden doing this, it still would have been a hard job. I just don't like the fact that Biden's making it harder on the incoming president. But hey, at this point, can I really even blame Biden? Right? Does Biden even know what's going on? Does Biden even know what he's doing? Right? I highly doubt he knows what he's doing. So it's probably not him. It's probably his handlers, because we all know how Biden actually really feels about Trump winning. Okay. Because the people that actually undermine Joe Biden, that he actually has a beef with, are the Democrats and Kamala Harris. Okay. He should not be carrying out his anger, hate, and vitriol against Trump, right? He should be doing that against his own party. So again, this is probably his handlers, right? The more I think about it, the more I'm like, this might be Biden's handlers, okay? More so than him. I don't know. But regardless, it's still something that, is being done, okay? His administration is doing it to undermine the president. But, I think that Trump should be able to handle it. We got 60 days, 60 days until this nightmare of an administration is over. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.